Patric Cunnane. I'm going to kick off the evening. This is a collection of poems called Time for Song, which is a collection of contemporary Cornish poetry. I've got a few poems in it because I've been reading at festivals in Cornwall for about the last 30 years, particularly in St Ives, and later on I'm sure you'll hear maybe one or two other poems in this collection. I'm not sure Sue, who's also in here, is planning to read from here, but it is on sale anyway, just to let you know. So this first one is kind of a sea shanty, All the Fish in the Sea. I love you more than all the little fishes in the sea. I love you more than all the mysteries of the deep. I love you more than all the clearest, bluest water. I love you more than all the footprints in the sand. I love you more than all the boats approaching land. I love you more than all the storms in mid-Atlantic. I love you more than all the headwinds catching sails. I love you more than all the hands on foredeck rails. I love you more than all the islands adrift in red sunsets. I love you more than all the drowned and lost shipwrecked. I love you more than all the gulls that skim the waves. I love you more than all the plaintive songs of whales. I love you more than all the dolphins leaping ways. I love you more than all the wriggling creatures. I love you more than all the pirates' buried treasures. I love you more than all the stories sailors tell. I love you more than all the compass points to hell. I love you more than all the limes and rum. I love you more than all the hulls which lie becalmed. I love you more than all the boozy days in port. I love you more than bringing home the craft. I love you more than squalls now breaking fore and aft. I love you more than the closing down of sight, when all the ocean disappears into all the rolling night. Okay. No evening of Cornish poetry would be complete without a poem about tin mining, and this is a poem called On the Dressing Floors at Grass. The dressing floors at Grass is the mine surface, and this poem is about a mining disaster that took place in 1893 when the roof of Dolcoeth mine fell in. Before that suffocating moment when the bottom of Dolcoeth fell in, a godsend of stones and dust signalled flight to safety, a scramble for the dressing floors at Grass. The collapsing skull held granite, 100 fathoms weight, and 7 men under crushed. Only Robert Davies survived, among the matchstick timbers, clinging hard to life, and dreams of autumn mist curling on the dressing floors at Grass. That morning, Captain Johns had ordered new timber balks from the hanging side to the footwall of the load, and work had just begun when the ground above opened like a road, creating a draught so fierce men fleeing were pinned against the rock, powerless of speech, while the boy Jimmy Tressana was blown 4 fathoms through the choking dust, in hellish contrast to coastal breezes playing on the dressing floors at Grass. But death had eaten well that day, and spared those pummelled by the violent air, sated by the lives of 7 who never more would see or pass, soft rain falling on the dressing floors at Grass. I wrote this poem about 2 days after Seamus Heaney died. Lament for Seamus. As summer passed, so did you, leaving, as you always did, a generous space for others. Once I saw you read in London, a benign God descended from the mountain, coupling links of the human chain. Your work travelled well. In Florence we sat up late, drinking wine, entranced by your voice and Liam's piping. Your poems lingered in the night, causing me to rise at dawn, pen my own verse, giddy with the richness of language found. And now, sad day, I come home, weighed down with groceries, hear your name on the news, which cannot be good news. What's a poet doing amid the lunchtime wars and warring? You are gone, and now forever here, leaving us alone with summer's beauty, the certain truth you fashioned from your poetry. You can't live in a city like London without being a little bit paranoid.
Mm-hmm.
The lions in the jungle. Sometimes I stay awake, listening for the lions in the jungle. Of late they have been reticent. I imagine they must be wearing slippers. I search the yard for paw prints. Each morning, nothing. It's a puzzle. I know little of their sex life. I expect they sleep around like other creatures of the night. My wife has been missing 3 years. I think the lions in the jungle ate her. I can't be certain. She didn't leave a note, just popping out for a bite. The lions in the jungle make me feel secure. When you have them to fear, it's pointless fearing people. The neighbours pretend not to have heard of the lions. What lions, they exclaim. This is city, not jungle. I'm certain they are mad, or just ordinary folk, scared of their own shadows. So scared of the lions they refuse to acknowledge their existence. You and I know different, do we not? We take precautions to keep the lions on our side, or at least at bay. An ornamental pool of milk, compost bins full of fish, fresh deer hanging on spits, bonfires to keep the lions warm. I invite them round for dinner. They are shy, poor dears, but in the morning the food is always gone. I'm certain the neighbours are mad. They say it's just kids, but you and I know different, do we not? You and I have counted the long, blonde hairs in the damp grass, noted the occasional article of underclothing playfully stolen from washing lines by irreverent cubs then left behind, mused over flattened patches of grass where the big lions have evidently rolled in play. You and I know what the lions in the jungle get up to. Such horrid, perverse creatures, no respect for their betters. They forget who built the jungle, who designed these concrete trees. I'm certain the neighbours are mad. They say it's a city like any other. They say it's not jungle. They refuse to believe in lions. They simply refuse to share our fears. Selfish lot. You and I know better, do we not? Earlier this year we did a show to celebrate Chinese New Year in a little Chinese tea house on the banks of the River Wandle, where we do regular shows now. And I wrote this poem specifically for the occasion. It's called The Darkest Stars, and it's inspired by the fact that since 2009 more than 100 Tibetans have self-immolated, set themselves alight in protest at the Chinese occupation. Many of them have been young monks and nuns, and most of them have died from their injuries. Through these flames we seek freedom, our immolated flesh singeing darkest stars. Our voice is speaking, listeners recoil at this challenge to our rude imprisonment, the scorching of our precious soil, our exiled leaders' eloquent resistance. As the new year turns, spare a prayer for us, set it spinning on your wheel, understand our desperate plea, our reddening anger, our white-hot steel. Thank you. I'm going to finish my first outing here tonight with a poem which is a little bit of a true story, and it happened on the plane coming back from Amsterdam one afternoon. It's called Biscuit Girl from Amsterdam. Would you like a biscuit? Said the girl sitting next to me on the plane from Amsterdam. Her teeth so white, I think she must eat only apples. I appreciatively take one, crunch away. They are like our English biscuit, the hobnob, I say. Her eyes widen. The obnob? Those white teeth again, as she seriously digests this important information. We call them country cookies, she says at last. Isn't that funny, I think? Obnob sounds much Dutcher than country cookies. She is on her way to Nepal, where neither obnobs nor country cookies can easily be found. Instead, she will digest the thrill of exploring fresh lands, a world experienced through young senses, opening like a giant lotus obnob in any flavour you like. Okay, I'd like to introduce the first of our Cornish Trio tonight, and it's Leslie Hale, and she lives in St Ives, and she has had poems published in magazines down there, including Poetry Cornwall and South. She's contributed this year to anthologies for Loose Muse and Poems for Freedom. She was here at the Poetry Cafe, I think at Loose Muse in December last year, and we look forward very much to welcoming her to Dodo Modern Poets. Leslie Hale.
Actually, I am going to use this, but
Okay. Whoops.
I need it somewhere near my mouth. Yeah.
Okay.
Cheers. Yeah, that's fine.
Is that okay?
That's fine.
Right, that should be okay.
Thank you. Was really surprised when Patrick started with that first poem. It's very easy to fall in love with Cornwall, but love isn't everything, and there are things that I do miss. And one of the things